Okay, quick question. Are you still relying on legacy mapping software that's way past its expiration date? If you're a geospatial pro, an urban planner, or an analyst still clicking away inside ArcGIS Desktop, well, the answer might be a terrifying yes. Honestly, your daily driver might just be a ticking time bomb of unsupported technology.
Welcome to The Explainer. I'm so thrilled you're here today because, look, we've got to talk about a massive, fundamental shift in the geospatial world. For over 2 decades, one software platform absolutely dominated the industry, right? It shaped the careers of literally countless professionals. But, well, that foundational platform is now officially burning. Today, we're unpacking the undeniable, urgent need to finally migrate away from ArcGIS Desktop and step into the modern era.
All right, let's dive right in. Here's our roadmap. First, we'll look at the era of desktop GIS. 2, that March 2026 deadline. 3, legacy tech limits. 4, the security risks. And finally, modern 64-bit alternatives. Section 1, an era of desktop GIS.
Before we talk about where we're going, we kind of have to look at where we started. For the veteran GIS pros out there, this early 1980s arc/info command line interface is just pure nostalgia, isn't it? We have come a remarkably long way from the massive mini-computers of 1982, back when typing out text-based relational operators for tabular data management was literally the bleeding edge of digital mapping. Looking at the evolution of Esri's platform, you can really see how it shaped the whole industry. In 1982, that command line arc/info laid the scientific foundation. Then, fast forward to 1993, the ArcView graphical user interface launched. And wow, this was a real game changer because it successfully brought GIS out of those specialized, highly technical computer rooms and right onto ordinary office desktops. By 1999, Esri revamped the whole shebang with ArcGIS 8.0, integrating all their software under one architecture. And then, the legendary 9.x series introduced geoprocessing and model builder in 2004. That cemented ArcGIS Desktop as the absolute gold standard for generations of students and pros alike.
Moving right along to Section 2, the March 2026 deadline.
As much as we love the history, guys, that era is over. Esri's definitive statement really leaves no room for interpretation here. They stated, the 10.8.x series is the final release of ArcGIS Desktop. March 1, 2026 marks the retirement of ArcGIS Desktop. So what does this all mean? It means this isn't a rumor. It's not just a soft suggestion to upgrade. It is an indisputable, authoritative end-of-life declaration for the software that basically built the modern GIS industry.
And that date, March 1st, 2026, is absolutely critical for one massive reason. It has already passed. Yep, if you or your organization are firing up ArcMap today, you are currently running completely unsupported software. You're basically operating on borrowed time.
All right, Section 3, legacy tech and 32-bit limits.
Let's dive into the technical deep end and diagnose exactly why this legacy software is an active bottleneck. Think of the 32-bit, single-threaded reality of ArcGIS Desktop like a single-lane dirt road. It's physically constrained by memory limits, completely unable to fully utilize the multi-core CPUs of your sleek, modern workstation. Contrast that with a 64-bit multi-threaded architecture. Now that is a multi-lane superhighway. This is what allows for massively faster data processing, background geoprocessing, and just buttery smooth rendering of highly complex spatial datasets. And this perfectly explains the core frustrations so many analysts feel, staring helplessly at that dreaded not responding window. A 32-bit architecture fundamentally struggles, freezes, or just outright crashes when faced with massive, large-scale spatial data, like high-resolution LiDAR, drone imagery, or massive national vector networks. It literally doesn't matter if your IT department bought you a $10,000 super workstation. The old software physically cannot access the RAM you've given it. It's like having a sports car stuck in first gear. Which brings us to Section 4, security and compatibility risks.
If the frustrating performance limits don't convince you, you absolutely have to consider the hidden IT dangers here. First off, there are absolutely zero future release plans for the 10.8.x series. Second, and this is huge, ArcGIS Desktop relies heavily on Python 2.7 for scripting, but Python 2.7 was officially discontinued years ago. This creates immense escalating compatibility risks. Finally, because the software uses older third-party components that nobody supports anymore, it's riddled with unpatchable security vulnerabilities. Even if Esri decides to patch a critical core flaw at their discretion, they can't fix those third-party components. It's a massive security risk for any organization.
Let's move to Section 5, Modern 64-bit Alternatives.
Now don't worry, we aren't just leaving you stranded on a burning platform. Powerful 64-bit alternatives have actually matured beautifully right alongside ArcGIS Desktop's decline. The incredibly popular open-source project QGIS actually began way back in 2002. Esri themselves launched ArcGIS Pro 1.0 a full decade ago, in 2015, as the dedicated 64-bit successor. By 2022, ArcGIS Pro 3.0 was standardizing modern project files. And now in 2026, we have the release of QGIS 4.0. What I'm saying is, these platforms are deeply mature, highly advanced, and completely ready for professional use right now.
When breaking down your migration choices, both ArcGIS Pro and QGIS are going to give you that essential multi-threaded horsepower. But, their approaches definitely differ. ArcGIS Pro combines 2D and 3D seamlessly in the exact same app, and it's tightly integrated with ArcGIS Online and Enterprise. Crucially, for migration, Pro imports your old desktop.mxd documents directly. Super easy. QGIS, on the other hand, is fiercely open source. It handles 3D via plugins, boasts a massive community-driven library, and excels in format interoperability. However, migrating to QGIS will require you to manually recreate your old maps and layouts, so a bit of a trade-off there.
So, what is the actionable takeaway here? You need to kickstart your migration today. Plan your path immediately. Seriously, do not wait for a critical system failure to force your hand. A great first step is installing ArcGIS Pro side by side with your old desktop software so you can test it out safely. Begin adapting those outdated Python 2.7 scripts and models to modern standards, and most importantly, embrace modern interaction habits. Yes, the interface has changed, but it has absolutely changed for the better.
Which brings us to our final, critical thought. The legacy era was magnificent. It really was. But the March 2026 deadline has passed. Those 32-bit limits are actively stifling your potential, and the security risks are simply way too high to ignore anymore. So, what is your migration plan? It's time to let go of the past and embrace the phenomenal power of modern GIS. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this helps you navigate your transition. Keep exploring, and I'll catch you next time.